Hey there, today I'm going to show you how to create a leave request workflow using Nintex Workflow for Office 365. Now the leave request needs to sit on a custom list, and I've already created my list with the fields leave type, start date, end date, and a description of the leave. And this leave site also contains a leave calendar, which will show you who is on leave and when they are on leave. So the first step is to click on the leave requests list and open the Workflow Designer. Alright, so we do that by clicking the List tab and then selecting Nintex Workflow in the ribbon. Okay, so we're now in the Workflow Designer, and the first thing I want to do is to create a variable to store the outcome of the approval task. Now we're going to call this task outcome. And select the type integer. Alright, so we can save this. The first action that we want to use is a send an email action, and we can drag this onto the canvas and double click to open the settings dialog. Now we want the email to go to the initiator of the workflow, so we can do this through the list lookup icon. So we'll select workflow context and then initiator. And we'll also add a subject to the email saying your leave type, and we'll get this from our insert reference column. Request has been received. You might also want to add an email body to this. So in this case, I'm going to say, hi, your leave type request starting on the start date until the end date has been received and has been forwarded to your manager for approval. Now these items here come directly from the leave request SharePoint list. Okay, so we can save this action. And now we need to add an assign a task action to the canvas. And we're going to assign this to the manager. And we'll enter a task title saying leave request for initiator. We'll do this through the advanced lookup. So workflow context, initiator, and then we also want to use the FX icon to coerce the output to another format. So in this case, to the display name of the initiator. The next step is the outcome options section. So in the task outcome field, you want to select the task outcome variable that we created earlier, and this is going to store the outcome of the task. So this action is complete, and we can move on to the next. Now the next action is a conditional branch, and again you just drag and drop this action onto the canvas and the workflow will continue. So the conditional branch is going to be used to check the output of the approval task. So in the value field, you need to select the workflow variable, and this was the task outcome that we created earlier. And then we also need to enter a value in the next value field. So with any task actions in Office 365, task approvals return a numerical value. And in this case, 0 is approved and 1 equals not approved. So when a condition evaluates to true, the workflow is going to follow the branch on the right-hand side, and if a condition evaluates to false, it's going to follow the branch on the left-hand side. So the next step is to add a send an email action onto the left-hand side of the branch. And this is going to notify the initiator that their leave request has been declined. And in order to do this, again, we're going to select the list lookup icon and then workflow context and initiator. Okay, so we can insert that. And in the subject, we could write, your leave request has been declined. And in the email body, I'm just going to enter declined. I'd probably make it a little bit more friendly if it wasn't a demo. Okay, so now we're going to copy the send an email action and paste it onto the right-hand side of the conditional branch. And now all we need to do is change a few things, such as the subject. So instead of saying declined, we'll say approved. And again, in the email body, rather than declined, we'll change to approved. Yay! Now the final action we need is a create list item. And this is going to be used to create an item in the leave calendar. So to configure this action, we need to select leave calendar as the target list. And in the title, we're going to again select the initiator and we'll coerce it into the display name output. And configure the start time. And this is going to be a list lookup, and we want it in the current item, and the field we want is the start date that we had in our SharePoint list. Again, the end time is also a list lookup. Current item and end date as the field name. Alright, so once we save this, our workflow is complete and all we need to do is publish. So we'll call the workflow leave request workflow. And then let's automate the start of the work by selecting start when items are created. So we can click publish. Okay, so now that the workflow is published, we'll click OK and close the workflow designer to return back to the SharePoint list. Now when someone adds a new item to the leave request list, the workflow will run. We can now run the workflow, and to do this I'm going to pretend my name is Emily and I want to take some holiday leave. So I'm going to open Emily's account, fill out a leave request for her. So we'll click on add new item in the leave request list and we'll call it Emily leave. Leave it as annual leave, and I'm going to make the start date the 25th of November until, let's say, the 28th. Alright, so let's submit this, and once this has been submitted, the workflow will begin to run. The first thing that will happen is Emily will receive an email saying that her leave request has been received and has been forwarded onto her manager. So now we can go check the manager account and see that the task has been sent to the manager for approval. Alright, so you can see here the email saying leave request for Emily Fish. So we'll click on the task. And I'm going to approve this. So now that this has been accepted, another email will be sent to Emily notifying her of a successful request. So let's go check her email accounts. And here is the email, so it's telling me that my leave has been approved. So the final thing is to check the leave calendar. And here you can see Emily's leave has been added to the leave calendar.